The sleek diplomatic vessel Terra Hope glided smoothly into the vast docking bay of the Galactic Council's station. Its polished metallic hull sparkled under the artificial lights that lined the cavernous space. Inside the ship's bridge, Dr. Park Jinnah took a deep breath as she watched the docking clamps secure their vessel. She straightened her crisp blue uniform and checked her appearance one final time in the reflective surface of a nearby console. Jinnah had spent months preparing for this moment. As Earth's foremost expert on atmospheric sciences, she had been chosen to represent humanity in their first official contact with the galactic community. The weight of this responsibility pressed heavily on her shoulders, but her hands remained steady as she gathered her data tablets. "We're ready to disembark, Doctor," announced Captain Kim Do-won, his usually stern face showing a hint of excitement. The small delegation of 5 humans had been carefully selected for this historic mission. Besides Jinnah and the captain, they had brought along 2 diplomats and a cultural expert. The airlock cycled with a soft hiss, and Jinnah stepped into her first alien space station. The corridor before them stretched out in elegant curves, its walls shimmering with a pearlescent material unlike anything on Earth. Their escort, a tall being that appeared to be made of shifting smoke contained within a transparent field, gestured for them to follow. As they walked through the station's winding passages, Jinnah noticed how every section was separated by complex airlocks and atmospheric barriers. Different species moved about their business, some walking on legs like humans, others floating or rolling. Many wore environmental suits of varying designs, while some existed within bubbles of their native atmospheres. "The council chamber is just ahead." Their escort's words came through their translation devices in a melodious tone. "Please remember the protocols we discussed. Many species find sudden movements distressing." The doors to the council chamber slid open silently, revealing a sight that made Jinnah's breath catch in her throat. The room was an enormous amphitheater, stretching up at least 10 stories high. Curved tiers held hundreds of different beings, each section carefully maintained at specific environmental conditions for its occupants. Some representatives floated in bubbles of green gas, while others sat in pools of liquid. One section appeared to be filled with crystalline beings that sparkled like diamonds. In another area, creatures that seemed to be made of pure energy pulsed rhythmically. The diversity was far beyond anything the human delegation had expected. Their small group was led to a platform near the center of the chamber. Jinnah noticed how some of the older council members watched them with what she interpreted as dismissive attitudes. She could almost read their thoughts. Here was another primitive species seeking admission to the galactic community, barely out of their planetary cradle. A hush fell over the chamber as Lord Krax, the head counselor, rose from his position. His crystalline form towered nearly 15 feet tall, refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. When he moved, his body chimed softly, creating a musical undertone to his translated words. "Representatives of Sol 3, known to its inhabitants as Earth," his voice resonated through their translation devices, "we welcome you to the Galactic Council." The formal greeting was accompanied by a shimmer of colors throughout his crystalline form. "Please present your credentials and planetary data for consideration." Jinnah stepped forward, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "Honorable Council, I am Dr. Park Jinnah, Earth's leading atmospheric scientist. With me are Captain Kim Do-won, our diplomatic team, and our cultural expert." She activated her data tablet, preparing to share Earth's information with the Council's central systems. From the upper tiers, a being composed of swirling purple gas asked, "Your species has achieved faster than light travel recently, yes? How many of your solar cycles ago?" "Just 3 years ago," Jinnah replied, noting how this answer caused several council members to exchange meaningful looks. Earth was indeed very new to the galactic stage. A creature that appeared to be made of living metal spoke next, its voice coming through as deep and resonant. "And your civilization's age? How long since your industrial revolution?" "Approximately 300 years, Jinnah answered honestly, hearing the murmurs that rippled through the chamber. Most species present had histories spanning thousands or even millions of years. Lord Crax raised a crystalline appendage, silencing the murmurs. We shall proceed with the formal presentation of planetary data. Dr. Park, please begin with your world's basic characteristics. Jinnah took another deep breath, knowing that the real challenge was about to begin. She had no way of knowing that in just a few minutes, her casual mention of Earth's oxygen levels would throw the entire Galactic Council into chaos. For now, she simply stood straight and proud, ready to represent her planet and species before this gathering of ancient civilizations. The data projection system activated, creating a holographic display of Earth that floated in the center of the chamber. As Jinnah prepared to begin her presentation, she caught Captain Kim giving her an encouraging nod. The future of Earth's relationship with the galactic community rested on what would happen in the next few moments, and she was determined to make humanity proud. Dr. Lee Sun-ho moved forward with careful steps, his diplomatic training evident in every measured movement. The senior diplomat's presence beside Jinnah provided a sense of confidence as they prepared to present Earth's formal petition for membership in the Galactic Council. The holographic display of Earth continued to rotate slowly in the center of the vast chamber, its blue and green colors casting gentle shadows across the assembled aliens. We will now proceed with the detailed planetary survey, Lord Crax announced, his crystalline form catching and reflecting the light from Earth's hologram. Please begin with the basic planetary characteristics. Sun-ho nodded and began the presentation. Earth is the third planet from our Sun, with a diameter of approximately 12,742 kilometers. Our gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared, and we have one natural satellite. The council members nodded along, making notes in their various ways. Some used devices that looked like tablets, while others seemed to absorb the information directly through their bodies. Nothing in these initial statistics seemed to surprise them. Our planet maintains a relatively stable climate, Sun-ho continued, with temperature ranges that support liquid water across most of our surface. This drew some interested murmurs from the council, but nothing extraordinary. Representative Mirth, a being that looked like a swirling purple gas contained within a shimmering energy field, floated forward slightly. Its voice came through the translators with a whistling quality. Please provide details about your atmospheric composition. This is crucial for determining compatibility with existing council facilities. Jinnah stepped forward, her tablet displaying the relevant data. She saw no reason for concern. This was basic information she had presented countless times on Earth. Our atmosphere is primarily nitrogen at 78%, oxygen at 21%, with trace elements making up the remainder, she stated simply, as if discussing the weather. The reaction was instantaneous and overwhelming. The chamber erupted into chaos unlike anything the human delegation had ever witnessed. Beings of all species began expressing distress in various ways, some through sounds that overwhelmed the translation system, others through dramatic color changes or violent movement. A group of liquid-based aliens actually began to bubble furiously in their containment pools. Several gaseous entities swirled so rapidly their containment fields struggled to maintain integrity. The crystalline beings, including Lord Crax, changed colors rapidly, shifting from their normal blue hues to deep purple, then to colors the humans had never seen before. "Impossible," shouted a metallic being, its surface rippling like mercury. "The data must be incorrect. No planet could maintain free oxygen at such levels," called another voice from the upper tiers. Lord Crax's voice cut through the chaos, though his usually musical tones had become sharp and discordant. "Dr. Park, please verify your readings. Perhaps there has been a translation error." Jinnah checked her data again, confusion clear on her face. "The readings are accurate, council members. Our atmosphere has maintained these levels for millions of years. Is there a problem?" This simple question somehow caused even more commotion. A delegation of silicon-based life forms actually began to crystallize further, their anxiety manifesting physically. "A problem? A floating creature that looked like a collection of geometric shapes spoke in what seemed to be a mix of fear and awe. Oxygen is one of the most corrosive and reactive elements in the known galaxy. It destroys molecular bonds. It causes metals to rust. It breaks down complex organic compounds. No advanced civilization we know of has evolved in an oxygen-rich environment. Captain Kim Do-won leaned close to Jinnah and whispered, "Did we just tell them we breathe poison?" Before Jinnah could respond, Representative Mirth moved closer, its containment field humming with increased power. "You mean to tell us that your species not only survives but evolved in an environment with free oxygen at these levels, and your planet maintains this naturally?" "Yes," Jinnah replied, still struggling to understand their reaction. "Our plant life produces oxygen through photosynthesis. It's a basic part of our planet's life cycle." The chamber fell completely silent for the first time since the humans had entered. Every alien being seemed to be processing this information in their own way. Lord Crax's crystalline form had stabilized on a deep purple color that seemed to pulse with internal light. Finally, Lord Crax spoke, his translated voice carrying a weight that hadn't been there before. "We must suspend normal proceedings. This revelation requires immediate study and consideration. If your data is accurate, and I stress the if, your planet represents something unprecedented in known space." Dr. Lee Sung-ho stepped forward again, his diplomatic training helping him maintain composure despite the unexpected situation. "Honorable Council, we came prepared to share all our scientific data. If our atmospheric composition is of such interest, we would be happy to provide detailed studies of our planetary ecosystem." Interest. A beam that appeared to be made of pure energy pulsed rapidly. "Your planet shouldn't exist according to everything we know about planetary development. Either your measurements are wrong, or Earth represents a complete violation of our understanding of atmospheric chemistry." The human delegation exchanged glances, suddenly realizing that their normal planet might be far more extraordinary than they had ever imagined. What they had taken for granted, the very air they breathed, had just turned their first contact with the galactic community completely upside down. Chief Scientist Dern's tentacles moved wildly through the air, their usual graceful motions replaced by agitated writhing. His environmental suit glinted under the chamber's lights as he moved closer to the human delegation. "Impossible," he declared again, his translated voice carrying a mix of fear and disbelief. "Free oxygen at such levels would be catastrophically reactive. No advanced life could evolve in such conditions." Kim Min-ji watched the alien scientist's display with growing fascination. As Earth's leading biologist, she had studied countless life forms, but nothing had prepared her for the revelation that oxygen-breathing creatures might be unique in the galaxy. She stepped forward, her data tablet displaying detailed atmospheric readings from Earth's history. "I assure you, our readings are accurate," she stated firmly. "Earth's oxygen levels have been stable for millions of years, maintained by our planet's ecosystem." She brought up a graph showing atmospheric composition over time. "We have fossil records and geological evidence confirming these levels." The alien scientists gathered in tight groups, their various environmental suits and containment fields clustering together as they frantically checked and rechecked their readings. Some used devices that looked like complex calculators, while others seemed to be running simulations through floating holographic displays. "Your instruments must be malfunctioning," insisted a scientist who appeared to be made of living crystal. "We've studied thousands of worlds. Not one has maintained free oxygen levels above trace amounts without artificial intervention." Min-ji shared a look with Jinnah before responding. "Perhaps I can explain how our ecosystem maintains these levels." When no one objected, she continued, "On Earth, plants and other organisms use a process called photosynthesis. They take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen as a byproduct." This explanation caused another wave of agitation among the alien scientists. A being that looked like a collection of floating geometric shapes moved forward. "You're saying your life forms deliberately produce oxygen, the most corrosive common element in the galaxy, And you breathe it," added another scientist, their translator making their voice sound almost squeaky with disbelief. Voluntarily, Captain Kim Do-won couldn't help but chuckle, though he quickly composed himself. "We don't just breathe it. We need it to survive. Our cells use oxygen to produce energy. Without it, we would die within minutes." This statement caused several of the alien scientists to back away from the human delegation. Chief Scientist Dern's tentacles curled tightly against his body. "You're saying you've evolved to depend on a poisonous gas?" Dr. Lee Sung-ho, seeing the growing tension, stepped in with his diplomatic skills. "Perhaps we could arrange for your scientists to visit Earth, see our ecosystem firsthand. We could provide protective environments for your safety, of course." The suggestion caused a burst of excited chatter among the alien scientists. They huddled together again, their various forms creating an otherworldly scene as they discussed the possibility. Some gestured with appendages, others pulsed with different colors or emitted various frequencies of light. Chief Scientist Dern finally turned back to the humans. "If, and I stress if, your claims are accurate, this would represent the most significant xenobiological discovery in Council history. We need to understand how your planet achieved this impossible feat." Min-ji brought up more data on her tablet. "We have detailed records of Earth's evolutionary history. The rise of oxygen-producing organisms actually caused our planet's first mass extinction event, what we call the Great Oxidation Event. The survivors adapted to use oxygen, leading to an explosion of complex life forms." The alien scientists' reactions to this casual mention of mass extinction and adaptation were a mix of horror and fascination. Some began taking readings of the humans themselves, their instruments whirring and beeping as they studied these beings who breathed poison. "Your species evolved from this catastrophe?" asked a scientist composed of swirling gas. "You're the descendants of organisms that survived a planetary poisoning." "In simple terms, yes," Min-ji confirmed. "Our entire ecosystem now depends on oxygen. It's essential for most life on Earth." The chamber fell into a thoughtful silence. The alien scientists were clearly struggling to reconcile their understanding of chemistry and biology with the reality standing before them. Humans, creatures that not only survived in an oxygen-rich environment, but required it to live, had achieved space travel, and were now seeking membership in the Galactic Council. Finally, Chief Scientist Dern spoke again, his tentacles now moving in what seemed to be a more contemplative pattern. "We will need to establish a research team immediately. Your planet, your entire species, represents something we never thought possible. The implications for our understanding of life itself are staggering." As the alien scientists began organizing their research plans, Min-ji couldn't help but smile. They had come to the council hoping to learn from advanced alien civilizations, never imagining that Earth's most basic characteristic would turn out to be its most extraordinary feature. The air they breathed, something they had always taken for granted, had just opened up entirely new possibilities for human-alien relations. The massive research vessel Truth Seeker descended from high orbit, its hull gleaming in Earth's sunlight. At over 3 kilometers long, it dwarfed the human space stations that monitored its approach. Dr. Kang Hyun-woo stood at the observation deck of the Korean Space Center, watching the alien ship grow larger in the sky. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" he said to no one in particular, adjusting his lab coat. As the lead researcher for the Earthside team, he had spent the last week preparing for this moment. The alien scientists had insisted on bringing their own research vessel, claiming their equipment was too sensitive to transport through human ships. The Truth Seeker settled into a stable orbit, and soon smaller shuttlecraft began descending through the atmosphere. Each one was specially designed to maintain the various environmental conditions required by different alien species. Hyun-woo watched as they landed one by one on the specially prepared landing pads. The first alien scientists emerged from their craft wearing environmental suits that made them look like walking deep-sea diving equipment. Chief Scientist Dern's tentacles were now contained within a rigid structure, though they still moved visibly behind the transparent sections of his suit. "Welcome to Earth," Hyunwoo said, bowing slightly. "We've prepared the research facilities according to your specifications." The alien scientists moved cautiously, their instruments constantly monitoring the air around them. One of them, a crystalline being named Zax, held up a device that emitted soft beeping sounds. "The oxygen levels here are even higher than in your cities," it noted, its translated voice carrying a tone of wonder and fear. "Yes," Hyunwoo explained. "We're currently in a nature preserve. The abundance of plant life maintains higher oxygen levels than in urban areas." He gestured toward the lush forest that surrounded the research center. The alien scientists followed his gesture, their various sensing equipment working overtime to process the environment. The trees swayed gently in the breeze, their leaves catching the sunlight in ways that made several of the crystalline aliens change color in response. Inside the research center, the aliens had set up their own sealed laboratories. Through transparent barriers, Hyunwoo watched as they conducted test after test on Earth's air, soil, and water samples. Their amazement grew with each confirmation of their readings. "Impossible," muttered a gaseous entity named Myth, its containment field swirling with patterns that the translators identified as expressing disbelief. "The oxygen isn't just present, it's being actively produced by these simple plants." Hyunwoo directed their attention to a microscope slide containing algae samples. Even these microscopic organisms produce oxygen through photosynthesis. It's a fundamental process of life on Earth. The alien scientists crowded around their viewing equipment, watching in fascination as the tiny organisms carried out their basic life functions. What seemed routine to humans appeared miraculous to beings who had evolved in completely different conditions. "And these processes occur planet-wide?" asked Chief Scientist Dern, his tentacles pressing against his suit as he leaned closer to examine the readings. "Yes," Hyunwoo confirmed. "From our deepest oceans to our highest mountains, oxygen-producing organisms can be found almost everywhere on Earth." The research team moved outside again, this time to study larger plant specimens. The aliens watched in amazement as Hyunwoo casually handled leaves and branches without any protective gear. To them, it seemed like he was touching poison with his bare hands. "Your species evolved alongside these oxygen-producing life forms?" asked Zax, its crystalline form shimmering with what appeared to be excitement. "You adapted to use their waste product as your primary energy source." "That's correct," Hyunwoo replied, smiling at their continued amazement. "In fact, most complex life on Earth depends on oxygen for survival. It's not just humans. Animals, many fungi, and numerous microorganisms all require oxygen to live." As the day progressed, the alien scientists documented countless examples of Earth's unique biology. They studied everything from earthworms to eagles, each creature adding to their astonishment at how life had evolved on this oxygen-rich world. "Your planet's evolutionary history must be rewritten," declared Chief Scientist Dern as they reviewed their findings. "The development of oxygen-dependent life changes everything we thought we knew about biological possibilities." Hyunwoo watched as the alien scientists compiled their data, their excitement growing with each new discovery. What had seemed impossible just a week ago was now being documented in precise scientific detail. Earth's poison atmosphere wasn't just real. It was the foundation of one of the most complex biospheres they had ever encountered. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the research center's grounds. The alien scientists paused in their work to watch the sky turn various shades of orange and red, colors created by the very oxygen they found so dangerous, interacting with Earth's atmosphere. "Perhaps," Hyunwoo suggested, "what we consider impossible is simply something we haven't understood yet." He gestured at the peaceful scene around them, the trees swaying in the breeze, birds flying overhead, insects buzzing among the flowers. Earth's oxygen-rich environment isn't a mistake or an anomaly. It's just a different path that life can take. The alien scientists absorbed this statement in their various ways, their instruments still whirring and beeping as they continued to document every aspect of Earth's unique ecosystem. What had started as a verification mission was quickly becoming one of the most important scientific expeditions in galactic history. The emergency session of the Galactic Council began with an unusual sense of anticipation. The vast chamber, normally filled with the quiet murmur of diplomatic discussions, buzzed with excitement. Dr. Choi Yu-jin stood at the center platform, surrounded by holographic displays showing Earth's biological data. The council members had gathered in record numbers, with even the most distant species sending representatives through quantum links to witness this historic presentation. Lord Crax's crystalline form glowed with an intense blue light, reflecting the importance of the occasion. Honorable council members, Yu-jin began, her voice steady despite the pressure. The research expedition to Earth has confirmed our initial findings and revealed even more extraordinary discoveries. She activated the main holographic display, showing a three-dimensional model of Earth's atmospheric cycles. Our planet's oxygen-rich atmosphere isn't maintained by technology or artificial means, she continued. It's the result of billions of years of biological evolution. The display shifted to show microscopic images of ancient cyanobacteria, the first oxygen-producing organisms on Earth. A representative from the gaseous species raised what appeared to be a tendril of energy. Are you suggesting this process developed naturally, without intervention? Exactly, Yu-jin confirmed. What you call impossible, our planet achieved billions of years ago. Every green plant on Earth is a natural oxygen factory, maintaining our atmosphere through a self-regulating cycle. The chamber erupted in discussions, with various species communicating in their unique ways. Some flashed colors, others emitted patterns of energy, while still others vibrated at different frequencies. The translators worked overtime to keep up with the multiple conversations. But the energy requirements, protested a silicon-based being, its crystalline surface reflecting light in agitated patterns. The molecular bonds needed to split water molecules. Yu-jin brought up another display, this one showing the detailed process of photosynthesis. Our plants use sunlight to power this process. They've evolved specialized cells that capture and use solar energy with remarkable efficiency. Chief Scientist Dern, who had returned from the Earth expedition, moved his tentacles in what the humans had learned was a gesture of agreement. We've verified these processes firsthand. The plants perform this chemical reaction continuously, without any external control or intervention. The holographic display shifted again, showing the complex web of Earth's ecosystem. Yu-jin pointed to different elements of the cycle. The oxygen isn't just a waste product. It's become essential to most life on Earth. Our cells have evolved to use it for energy production, making it possible for complex organisms to develop. A member of an ancient spacefaring species, appearing as a collection of geometric shapes, moved forward. In all our exploration of the galaxy, we've never encountered a planet that maintained free oxygen at these levels naturally. The implications for our understanding of life are significant. Yu-jin nodded, bringing up new data from the Earth expedition. We've discovered that Earth's oxygen cycle has created unique opportunities for life to develop. Our planet hosts millions of different species, each adapted to use oxygen in their own way. The display showed examples of Earth's biodiversity, from deep-sea creatures to birds soaring through the air, from microscopic organisms to massive trees. Each image caused new waves of discussion among the council members. The research team has confirmed that this oxygen cycle is self-regulating, Yu-jin explained. Plants produce oxygen through photosynthesis, while animals and other organisms consume it, creating a balanced system that has maintained itself for millions of years. Lord Crax's crystalline form shifted colors as he spoke. This discovery challenges everything we thought we knew about planetary development. Your world shouldn't exist according to our previous understanding, yet here you are, presenting evidence that changes our fundamental theories about life itself. Yu-jin brought up the final set of data, showing the stability of Earth's atmosphere over geological time. What makes Earth unique isn't just the presence of oxygen, but the way our entire biosphere has evolved to depend on it. We've created a sustainable cycle that maintains itself without any technological intervention. The implications of this statement rippled through the council chamber. Species that had prided themselves on their advanced atmospheric processing technology were suddenly confronted with a natural system that accomplished the same goals more efficiently. Every green leaf on our planet, Eugene continued, every blade of grass, every microscopic algae cell is part of this system. What your civilization struggled to achieve with technology, Earth's biology does automatically, continuously, and sustainably. The chamber fell silent as the council members processed this information. Earth wasn't just an anomaly. It was a living example of biological engineering on a planetary scale, achieved through natural evolution rather than technological advancement. Finally, Lord Crack spoke again, his translated voice carrying a weight that everyone in the chamber could feel. Dr. Choi, your presentation has done more than confirm your planet's unique nature. It has opened new possibilities for understanding life itself. The Council will need to reconsider many of its fundamental assumptions about planetary development and biological evolution. Yu Jin stood proudly as the Council members began discussing the implications of Earth's discovery. Their planet, which they had once thought unremarkable, had just changed the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. The air they breathed, which they had taken for granted, had turned out to be one of the most extraordinary features in known space. Dr. Song Hae Newell stood at the observation window of the Galactic Council station, watching the steady stream of diplomatic vessels arriving. Just 2 weeks ago, Earth had been seen as a young, barely significant world seeking admission to the galactic community. Now those same ships carried representatives from dozens of advanced civilizations, all eager to learn Earth's biological secrets. Behind her, the human delegation's meeting room buzzed with activity. Holographic displays showed various alien worlds, each struggling with their own atmospheric challenges. Some species had spent thousands of years trying to create stable oxygen processing systems, while others had given up entirely and lived in sealed environments. Another request for a scientific exchange program, announced her assistant, handling a data tablet. This one's from the Crystalline Confederacy. They're offering access to their quantum computing technology in exchange for studying Earth's plant life. Hanul nodded, adding the request to an already impressive list. The political dynamics had shifted so dramatically that she sometimes had to remind herself this wasn't a dream. Species that had dismissed humans as primitive were now eagerly seeking their expertise. A delegation of gaseous beings floated into the room, their containment fields humming softly. Dr. Song, their translator conveyed, "We hope you'll consider our proposal. Our civilization has struggled with atmospheric stability for millennia. Your world's natural systems could revolutionize our approach. We're reviewing all proposals carefully," Hae Newell replied diplomatically. "Earth's ecosystem is complex and delicate. Any exchange programs will need to ensure its protection." The meeting room's doors opened again, admitting Lord Crax himself. The crystalline being's presence caused a stir. It was unusual for the head counselor to make personal visits to delegation offices. Dr. Song, his musical tones translated clearly, the council has been discussing Earth's position in the galactic community. Your world's unique characteristics make it particularly valuable. Hanul straightened her posture, knowing this conversation could shape humanity's future. Our world may be young by your standards, she addressed him directly, but we have something no other world has achieved: a naturally sustainable oxygen-rich atmosphere. We're willing to share our knowledge, but as equals. Lord Crax's crystalline form shifted colors in what Hae Newell had learned was a sign of respect. The Council is prepared to offer Earth special status. Your world would be classified as a protected biological reserve, with guaranteed sovereignty and security. And our research partnerships? Hae Newell asked, thinking of the dozens of proposals they'd received. Earth would have full control over who studies your ecosystem and under what conditions, Lord Crax confirmed. The Council would provide technology and resources to help you manage these programs effectively. Throughout the day, more delegations arrived. Some offered advanced technology, others promised political support, and a few even suggested military alliances. Earth had suddenly become one of the most important worlds in known space, all because of something humans had barely thought about: the air they breathed. Hanul met with each delegation carefully, knowing that every conversation could impact humanity's future. She watched as species that had evolved in completely different environments tried to understand how Earth's complex ecosystem functioned. Your plants marveled at being made of living metal. They maintained this balance automatically, without any control systems. Nature found its own balance. Hanul explained. Over billions of years, life on Earth evolved to create and maintain these conditions. What your civilizations try to achieve with technology, our world does naturally. The implications of this simple fact continued to ripple through galactic society. Species that had prided themselves on their advanced atmospheric processing systems were now studying Earth's primitive plants with intense interest. Later that evening, Hanul prepared for her address to the full council. The chamber would be packed with representatives from every major civilization in known space. Earth's position in the galaxy would be formalized, transforming humanity from newcomers to valued members of the galactic community. Remember, she told herself quietly, we aren't just protecting Earth's interests now. We're protecting a biological treasure that could benefit the entire galaxy. The political landscape had indeed shifted dramatically. Earth wasn't just another world seeking admission to the galactic community. It was a unique jewel in the cosmic ocean, holding secrets that even the most advanced civilizations wanted to understand. As Hanul walked toward the council chamber, she couldn't help but smile at the irony. Humans had looked to the stars, hoping to learn from advanced alien civilizations. Instead, they had discovered that their greatest treasure had been right under their noses, or more accurately, in every breath they took. The chamber doors opened, and Hanul stepped forward to help shape humanity's new role in the galaxy. Behind her, Earth continued its ancient cycles, its plants quietly producing the very substance that had transformed its position in the cosmos. What had once been taken for granted had become the key to humanity's future among the stars. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council glowed with a soft light as representatives from thousands of worlds gathered for the historic ceremony. Holographic displays carried the event to every corner of known space, where billions of beings watched as humanity prepared to take its place among the stars. Dr. Lim Ji-won adjusted her formal diplomatic robes, touched by their deep blue color that matched Earth's oceans as seen from space. Around her, the chamber hummed with the gentle sounds of various environmental systems, keeping each species comfortable in their own atmospheric conditions. The Council recognizes Earth's representative. Lord Krax announced, his crystalline form shimmering with formal colors. Today, we welcome a world that has changed our understanding of life itself. Ji-won stepped forward to the central platform, where the holographic displays showed rotating images of Earth, its blue oceans, green forests, and white clouds now famous throughout the galaxy. What had once seemed ordinary to humans had become extraordinary to the rest of the cosmos. By unanimous decision of the Council, Lord Krax continued, Earth is hereby granted full membership status and designated as a protected scientific heritage site. Its unique biosphere will be preserved and studied for the benefit of all species. The signing ceremony began, with representatives from major galactic powers adding their marks to the historic document. Some used energy signatures, others molecular imprints, and some simply touched the document with appendages that left distinct patterns. Today marks not just Earth's entry into the galactic community, Ji-won announced when it was her turn to speak, but the beginning of a new era of cooperation. Together, we will unlock the mysteries of life itself. As she spoke these words, research centers across Earth were already buzzing with activity. In the Amazon rainforest, crystalline scientists studied the complex interactions between plants and the atmosphere. In the Pacific Ocean, gaseous beings in specialized suits analyzed marine photosynthesis. On the African savanna, Energy-based life forms mapped the flow of oxygen through complex ecosystems. The Korean Advanced Biological Research Center had become a hub of interstellar cooperation. Alien scientists worked alongside human researchers, each bringing their own unique perspective to understanding Earth's remarkable biology. What humans had studied for centuries was being seen through entirely new eyes. The preservation of Earth's biosphere is now a galactic priority, Jai-1 continued. Our world's natural oxygen cycle represents not just a scientific marvel, but hope for countless species struggling with atmospheric maintenance. The chamber's displays showed images from across Earth, children playing in parks, farmers tending their fields, and scientists working in laboratories. Each scene included the alien researchers who had become a common sight on Earth, their environmental suits now a familiar part of daily life. Humanity's journey to the stars led us to discover that our greatest treasure was right here at home, Jai-1 said, gesturing to the images. The air we breathe, which we took for granted for so long, has become a bridge between worlds. A delegation from a gas giant civilization approached Jai-1 after the ceremony. Their floating forms swirled with patterns that the translators interpreted as excitement. "Your world has given us hope," they said. "Our atmospheric engineering projects have struggled for millennia, yet your plants accomplish the same tasks effortlessly." Similar conversations were happening across the chamber. Species that had evolved in vastly different environments were finding common ground in their fascination with Earth's unique biology. What had begun as a shocking discovery had become a foundation for unprecedented cooperation. Research teams on Earth were already producing remarkable results. The combination of alien technology and Earth's natural systems had led to breakthroughs in atmospheric science, biology, and ecological engineering. Humanity's understanding of their own world was growing alongside their new role in the galaxy. As the ceremony concluded, Jai-1 looked out at the assembled representatives of countless worlds. Earth had entered the galactic community, not as a junior member seeking guidance, but as a world of unique importance. Their primitive planet had turned out to be one of the most extraordinary places in known space. The future stretched out before them, full of possibilities. Human scientists would travel to other worlds, sharing their knowledge of oxygen-based biology. Alien researchers would continue to study Earth's ecosystems, learning from the intricate dance of life that maintained the planet's remarkable atmosphere. And it had all started with a simple presentation of atmospheric data. What humans had considered routine had turned out to be revolutionary. The air they breathed, which they had never thought twice about, had changed their place in the cosmos forever. As Jai-1 prepared to send her first official communication back to Earth as its permanent representative, she couldn't help but smile at the irony. Humans had looked to the stars for wonders, never realizing they had been living with one of the galaxy's greatest marvels all along. The chamber gradually emptied as representatives returned to their ships or quarters, but the excitement lingered in the air. Tomorrow would bring new discoveries, new challenges, and new opportunities for cooperation. The galaxy would never be the same, all because humans had casually mentioned something they had taken for granted their entire existence: the air they breathed.